Good day, and welcome to the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Bridges. In each episode, I cover my experiences, both good and bad, of being a business builder, as well as my journey through the crazy world of entrepreneurship to reach my goal of earning $10 million a year. All right, we're on episode 106 of the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast, and this is week 4 of July 2023, so we're in our planning phase for the next month. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that are coming up, and we'll get into the details of that. But right now, I want to launch into something that's sitting in my hot little hands right now. It's The Wealthy Consultant, Confessions of a 9-Figure Advisor. That's right. The book from Taylor Welch came out. I have it in my hands. It's not a super thick book, so it's a great opportunity for people who are very busy to absorb the learnings of a master at growing businesses and some of the good and bad things that he's done along the way. It's, let's see, what is it here? I believe it is 122 pages long, something like that. Nope, 112 pages. And so, again, not a super long book. We are going to be digging into that this week. And I say we because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in podcast land who also picked up a copy of this book that was released on, I believe it was Tuesday. And so we're going to be digging into that. I'm going to wrap it up this week, along with The Gap and the Gain, which is really kind of becoming a thick book for me. I'm having to really struggle to get through it. And then Buy Back Your Time, which is yet another opportunity for us to really consider how the entrepreneurial mindset works and how we're getting things done, and we're having to maximize the amount of things we're able to do. So that's on my book list for the remainder of this month. Buy Back Your Time is moving a little quicker. The Wealthy Consultant, I've already partly gotten through it. Just good reading all the way around. I love getting a chance to read material that is something I haven't seen before. So in the Wealthy Consultant program, there's the launch kit that I'm going through. And this week, the code word is Systemize. That's right. Getting into your business and systemizing everything. So the concept here is we're building for sustained growth. I introduced systemization into my programs a long time ago because I could see how doing what we do requires that we are able to put pieces together so that we can consistently make them available to other people, and at the same time someone else can do it and not just us. That's the key there. Automation has a different focus, but systemization is really about when you systemize, you're optimizing your business practice. And so definitely Systemize is the code word this week. We want to track all of our important information in our business. We want to have core KPIs. How many calls did we make? How many blogs did we do? How many Facebook posts and LinkedIn posts did we do? And really break it down. But how many conversations did we have with potential and future clients? These are really important numbers to keep track of. We want to keep track of our leads, our contacts. We want to have every instance of how we do what we do clearly laid out so that if we have to go back and reproduce it, we have a standardized way to do that. We can go back and look at it and say, this was my process for how I grow the business. And now I can reproduce that in a different area. This week's to-do list is quite long, and it's rolling into next month because as I go into the Systemize functions in the program that I'm going through, it's really important to be able to start putting the pieces together as I have a conversation, open out to other people and say, well, let me just throw you in on a quick Zoom and we'll go over this together. So what that means is we want to practice and record our presentation. We want to understand the things that we need to say, how to say them, how they sound best. Because when we start listening to ourselves,
we're going to be able to say, wow, I'm not really hitting the mark on that. It just doesn't really move me. Or, wow, that really knocked it out of the park. So as we practice and then ultimately record our presentation, do it in video with audio, and make it so that it can be systemized into your business. So you're not the only one giving this time after time after time after time. If you've got a 15-minute or even a 10-minute presentation, a lot of times you can just send it to somebody very quickly, just a quick pointer, send it to your YouTube or Rumble or wherever you get it from, and you set it out there, and then you just point people to it. And you can do that inside of a podcast like this. You can simply say, here's the link, or you do it inside of an article. And not only do you get the advantage of scale, you get your time back. You're not struggling so much to be able to get that over and over again. When it's a consistency thing, you can actually say, yeah, that was the best version of this that I did. And this is the same reason why people do auto webinars. You record it one time, and you can take it, put it out there, and then you enroll people into it. You take their $7 or $10 or whatever it is just to be able to get it. And then they become an invested part of this, and then they go you just schedule it. They go through the webinar just like anybody else does. And you make sure that you integrate a part of it for day 2, if you can do a 2-part presentation for these longer ones, these auto webinars, and you simply record your answers to all of the questions that have been presented from the day before. And then you splice that right in to the rest of your video and then run it auto just like anybody else would, right? So this is why we do these recordings, so that we can actually reuse them in different ways. Another thing that I have to do this week is to detail the problems that my clients are facing and how they are resolved. I want to be able to give away the most common things, not just the frequently asked questions, but the frequently asked challenges in how this kind of a program that I'm building, or this one that I'm doing, remember I'm working on 3 or 4 at the same time. But how are the challenges? What are the problems? And break them down and say, here's how they're resolved. So if somebody can pick up just one of them, man, that's massive value. And you're giving it away, especially if you can kind of record these things in quick snippets. You can put those out onto a short reel, Facebook Reels, although most of them seem to be good-looking women these days. I don't quite understand why everybody's got that going on, but that seems to be what's going on. The other thing that I have on my to-do list is the actual beta rollout. I'm going from 2.0 to 3.0 of my program. And I have a couple of people that are already in it, and they're starting to realize when they talk to me that the purpose of this program is not to make them do a bunch of homework. It's to solve that key challenge that you've got an idea, right? You have a dream, and you want to turn that into a business plan. But that's not generally the way it works. When I usually talk with people, the first plan is just a dream plan. It's not real. It's not fundable. And the person probably doesn't have the money to give it the justice that it needs. They don't quite understand that they have to learn to become a business owner first. Then they can actually do what they want to do after they've proven that it works. And this is part of the beta rollout, is doing that proof, helping these people understand you can't just go with your first idea and hope that it makes this great thing. So this is the week that I have coming up, rolling into August. And like I said, there's a lot of reading going on here, a lot of systemizing. I got to build a lot of systems in the next week. I'm going to be tracking in through August and seeing how these work for me. I'm still tracking my core KPIs every day. Everybody should have them. You have the ones for your communications. Generally speaking, you have ones for things like what your conversations are like when you're getting customers lined up or clients lined up, and then how do you sustain that moving forward, especially after you've already either got somebody to raise their hand or they have stated somehow that they're interested but haven't fully bought in. Okay? So this is, again, episode 106. We're doing the end of July. I'm going to set a few more stats for next week of what's going to happen throughout August. There's a lot of material that I'm going through that is just, it's good, thick material. Today, again, is going to be a relatively short one. We're going to dig in next week. If you haven't purchased it, The Wealthy Consulting Confessions of a Nine-Figure Advisor is available on Amazon. No, I'm not selling it. No, I'm not making anything off of it. It's just a great reference for being able to really dig in to what the difference is between a regular business owner and an actual wealthy consultant who understands wealth and not just money. Okay? So, signing off here, this is Randy Bridges for The Budding Entrepreneur, wishing you the best in your health, your wealth, your business, your family, everything about you. Take care and have a great week. We'll see you next week on the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast.